Hello, hello. So, the subject I want to tackle today is you buy from people who you like, know, and trust. This is actually an important marketing principle. Now, it's really easy, isn't it, to want to hide behind the computer and for everything to automatically to get sales without every talking to somebody. But marketing, selling, people buying your stuff, it's all relational. So we've got to get good at talking to people. We've got to get if people don't like you, they don't get to know you, they don't get to trust you, you're not going to sell unless you're some big corporate like Amazon. And when you get these cold phone calls, don't you, over the phone, and I just had one this afternoon, and immediately you're thinking, well, what is this person, what do they want from me? We become wary. So generally we buy from people we trust, and that's pretty sensible, isn't it, really, when you think about it? Good conmen, unfortunately, are really good at building trust and ripping you off, which has happened to me a couple of times. And you think it's not, it won't happen to you. But some of these people are very, very clever. Here's another principle that I love, that I've learned. So we buy from those who we like, know, and trust. But selling is serving. I'll let that sink in a little bit. And really the key, I've been saying this, pardon me, is who are we called to serve? Who are you called to serve? If you're called to serve somebody, then you're called to sell to them. God doesn't expect you to serve everybody free. It says, don't muzzle an ox. You've got to live. Selling is ethical. It's so easy, isn't it, to sort of a false, teaching, really, in a sense, that you've got to do everything free because God gave, by grace means that you should do everything free. Now, I think as Christians, we should be extremely generous. We should be, we should do some things free. But the fact is, if you do everything free for everybody, they'll drain you dry. It's not going to be a healthy way of you doing business. Because every business transaction is a contract, really, isn't it? You're giving them something valuable, and in return, they give you something valuable in return. The value of what you're giving them. You don't expect to go into a shop, buy a loaf of bread, and expect it to be free, do you? Because that's just not how the world works. And we have to, as in a perfect world, maybe that would be great, wouldn't it? But we don't live in that kind of world. We live in that kind. We've got to engage on those terms. And it's not ethical, is it, when people just want everything free all the time? Because someone has to spend hours. Someone has written a book, and you expect it free. That's really like a poverty mindset, isn't it, really? Because you're expecting them to give. They spent hours and hours producing this. Same thing with music and art, and it reduces the value, doesn't it? Reduces the value of what you do. So don't muzzle the ox. God wants you to be rewarded. What market do you have already is a good question as well. And sadly, not everything we're doing is worth what we'll sell. That's just the sad result. I mean, for example, music is quite difficult to sell because it's so cheap. On Spotify you can get it free, and yes, I get some reward from my sales in Spotify, but it's not something I'm going to be putting loads of. I do put loads of time and effort because it's something that was my passion. but we've got to be careful of throwing all your efforts into that when what's the return on the investment of time and effort. And so you've got, the rewards to me could be that I just enjoy doing it and that people are blessed. So you've got to really clearly evaluate what rewards you want, because everybody needs a reward for what they do. It's a basic human principle, really. And just coming back to this like, know, and trust, we generally buy from people we are aligned with. Pardon me. So people of similar values, similar language, obviously, because we're more likely to like, know, and trust them because we're aligned with them. And all of us need confidence to buy from someone, don't we? We need to think, do I trust that person to deliver what they're saying? And it's when you don't do that, when you don't deliver on your promise, because this is what you're doing when you're selling as well. You're making a promise, aren't you? That's what they're buying into, a promise. So people, when they buy a gym membership with us, they're buying, a promise that this is all the tools that you need to get fit. So we have to deliver on our promise, and obviously there's a two-way, because they have to deliver as well. They have to actually come into the gym and do their part of the contract, as it were. We are all solving people's problems. So when you buy something off someone, they're solving a problem that you have. So if it's art, well, what problem are you solving? It could be an emotional, it could be they like it. There's needs that are emotional. They're harder to sell to in that sense, but you could bring peace to someone, or there's lots of needs that you're meeting when with art. It's a little bit difficult to articulate. I mean, the gym's obvious, isn't it? You join a gym to get fit. That's the goal. That's the objective. That's the benefit to them. And the benefit to them is they lose weight. They feel better. So the benefits, really, that's what you're trying to sell, is the benefits. How it's going to make them feel. And with art, that's what you're doing, isn't it? And with music, it's the feeling. We buy into the feeling. Why do we listen to music? We're buying into a feeling. It helps our moods. It makes us feel calmer. It stimulates our brain. There's all sorts of advantages, and just advantages to art. It could be prophetic art. It could speak in a particular way to somebody. So it could be, but it could be practical as well. So even with art, it could be to fill a space on a wall. Now that's probably easier to sell, isn't it? Because it's actually easier to measure and to actually see the effect of you meeting that need. And remember, everybody around you in your world, whether it's in the Facebook world, physical world, they're really, they fit into three camps, really. They could be a cold audience, a warm audience, or a hot audience. So a hot audience is fans, people that like your stuff, that probably bought before. So, everybody in Creators Arise, you're hot fans. And like and trust me. You like what I'm doing. You come into the program, and you're my hot audience. I don't have to work very hard on you because we're aligned, and we're blessing, benefiting one another. Which is how it should be. You've got people on the other extreme, which are cold audiences. So many people are not interested. I mean, some people wouldn't bother buying art. Some people wouldn't listen to music. So there's no point marketing those people. They're not the people you're called to serve. They're not the people that you're called to market to and sell to. For example, for me, it is quite tricky sometimes because I've got different areas of responsibility and service. So my general two areas of service, I'm serving the women of gospel indirectly through the gym, because Fran's more the front face of that. But I am serving them through what I do. I'm serving the women of gospel who are, want to get fit. So that's our audience. I'm also my other audience is Christian creatives. So this is what's beginning to develop. I want to serve Christian creatives. And then there's obviously my music as well, which is another sort of audience. But those are more aligned. Those two audiences are more aligned, and that's what so I use my music as a way of blessing people, getting them get to know me, get to like, know, and trust. So think about what you're doing. How can you build that connection? Because that's what you want. You want connection. Yeah, as I say, somebody cold calling, when somebody rings you on the phone, does it generally work? Not if you've got any brain cells. I wouldn't buy it off of anybody just rang me up, would you? Sadly, sometimes people do, and then they regret that. It's like you get these emails from people that you don't know, and saying, I'm going to do this, I can do this and this for you. And I'm thinking, well, if you're so good, why do you need to be spamming me with this email if you're so good at marketing? That's the question you should be asking, because I don't know them from Adam, so why would I buy from them? So how do you collect people, an audience of people that like, know, and trust you? They're like buckets of people. An email list is still the best way. It's not easy, but an email list is because it's permanent. You've got to make sure you get the right people onto your email list, though, haven't you? So that's, you might do that through a lead magnet, which is like a pop-up, a freebie, something you're giving to somebody. And in the physical world, that could be a freebie as well, couldn't it? Something you give that has to be of value, because if you just give something rubbish to them, a gift that's not worth anything, it's not going to build trust, is it? It's not going to build. But if you give somebody something really worthwhile, they begin to get to know you and trust you. And you must have been. I've been in so many, where things I've bought, like where I've been to an experience or a challenge online or a webinar, and that gives you a chance to get some value, to get some help for a small price. So you're not gonna lose lots of money if it's not what you want. And then if you like them, you trust them, then you might upsell to the next thing and buy the next thing. That's an ethical process. That's not what's the word? That's not wrong in any way. It's quite a good way of getting to know people and seeing, are we aligned? Is what you're offering really big? Is that what I want? So Facebook groups, they're a kind of net as well, where you can gather people. You have to be a bit careful there, because some people just want a free lunch, and that's the trouble. Some people won't ever buy anything from you. They just want everything free, and I suggest those kind of people are probably not good to be around generally anyway. That's just my opinion. I mean, sometimes you're called to give help to people that are in a situation, that's good. But if everybody you're helping like that, I think we need to question. We would need to question that. Talk about that in the group if you like, if that's something that maybe touched a nerve. Questionnaires and quizzes are quite good as well. So I did that at one point. I just sent out a Google questionnaire asking people. I private message them saying, can you just listen to this track, and I'd ask some questions. It's great for you getting some marketing information, it's just, again, it's a way of building up. You find out who likes your stuff and trust you, and you get an email from that, etc. That's quite a good way to do it. All takes that time and effort, of course. As I mentioned, challenges and experiences, those types of things, like I did with my experience. So I use my music as a focal point. And the Zoom was good because we got to know each other. There was stuff going on. So that's how you build that confidence. Not everybody likes that. So, but you're self-selecting people. People who don't like that won't come. So then you're finding the people that are really warm to what you do and are building an alignment with you. Of course, you can use Facebook marketing and Google marketing, but that is not a quick fix because then you're generally selling to a colder audience, and there's techniques of finding those people, and obviously YouTube adverts and etc. So don't go for the quick fixes. Make sure you're good first at relational marketing, because Facebook can go, Google can go, but basically marketing and selling stay the same. So just to finish off a little bit here, hopefully this is helping. Give me some feedback, please, whether this is really helping. I mean, why did you buy from me? Hopefully you like, know and trust me. Well, I hope you do if you're here. You've probably met me through Believers Grace Network, probably back, it was in Creatives, Creative to Thrive, maybe at that point, Facebook. You've got to get relational. You've got to serve people within your world. Just as other point, I mean, why do we trust like Amazon and Google? So that's these big companies, we sort of trust them because they've got a name, they've got a brand, and they've got I suppose they've got a track record of delivery. So that's why we trust them. But sometimes, I mean, I've had recommendations of businesses, for example, and from friends, and they've been terrible. So doesn't always work. But social proof is powerful, and reviews are powerful because you go onto Amazon, you read the reviews, and you can actually not buy something because you read a review and think, In fact, they say, I think it is, that one bad review is worth, I think it's 10 good reviews. So that's the power of a bad review. Social proof is powerful. Social proof is basically what we see other people doing, gives us confidence to buy. So having testimonials on your website, etc., gives people that confidence that that when they buy, they're going to get, they're not going to get deceived or ripped off. And we generally buy what other people are buying as well. There's like you notice that there'll be they get to that point where if a lot of people are buying something, people just buy because they see other people buying it. So you probably saw me doing this with Facebook. Every time someone joined the Creators Arise, I put a hand up with so and so just joined, because that creates awareness. People go, oh look, they've joined. Oh, they joined. Oh, I might join, because they, especially their friends. They, the ask, get what's the word? Not testimonials. Asking people to go and go and share with their friends your product. Still work. Referrals still work. They don't always, as I said before, sometimes referrals aren't always work, but in general they do, because we believe our friends, we believe their judgment. And I can't remember where I read this, if you know where this is, please find it for me. I tried to look, but I couldn't find it. I read somewhere about they did an experiment with like 2 queues, and I think it was an airport or something like that. And there was a really long one and a really short one. And people automatically joined the long one, not the short one, because they couldn't believe, I suppose, that the short one was the right one, because there wasn't many people in the queue. So they thought, oh, join the long one must be the right one. It must be the one for me. If someone can find that, it was an experiment done. I can't remember where I read that. So I read all these books and then. So yes, selling is social. We can't just sell remotely. We need to engage. even if we're, you know, an introvert, we need to engage. You can write, can't you? You can do blog, pardon me, blog posts. You can give value, and it's more likely to buy if you engage with people. For example, just in the gym as an illustration. So when we get them into the gym, when they're in that environment, one reason we only start really selling to them is when they're actually in the environment, where they see the product, and they get to trust us, to think, oh, look, it's around, you know, it's not just some internet site, some website, because, you know, it could be all fake, couldn't it? But when they see a physical gym and they think, oh, right, that's a gym, this is what's going on, all these ladies, you know, they're very likely to buy at that point, and that's why we do that. It's just the way the world works. People don't generally buy on the website. That's why we don't offer the prices on the website. But that's another subject. And also, Fran is very likable, so she can sell anything. she's very good at it. And when someone buys from you, they're really saying, I like, I know, and I trust you. Okay, so just as a conclusion, and it's been quite a meaty video, isn't it, really? So probably you need to listen to this more than once, and hopefully we'll talk about this in a Zoom or so. So conclusions and application, because it's no good just hearing this. You've got to have a go at this. Just ask these questions. Do people like you? So are you likable? You know, Facebook's very easy to be a keyboard warrior, isn't it? And put people off. I've been guilty of that at times. You know, it's so be careful where you're writing, what you know, make sure people actually like you, because selling is relational. Do people know you? So don't, you know, this is a balance as well. You don't want to hang all your dirty washing on the line, but on the other hand, you want people to trust, you know, that you're vulnerable and that you make mistakes as well. So there's an important ingredient there. And, you know, do people trust you? And are you trustworthy? Do you deliver on your promise? Because that, you know, if you don't deliver on your promise, it can be a real bad review, and it can do really damage your business if you don't deliver what you said you would, and it leaves a very bad taste in the mouth for people, unfortunately. People don't mind you making mistakes actually so much, as long as you know, you're there to you know, again, it's relational. If you say, sorry, yeah, I'll fix that, and I'll give you this because of that error that I made. For me, I'm that's fine by me. But when people refuse to acknowledge what they've done isn't correct and they're not delivering, that's when you get upset. So, in fact, that just reminds me, just to finish off, a bit of a funny story. Fran's dad, I remember this story Fran told me, was in a cafe in Scotland, and he had a sausage roll, and it was mouldy. So he took it back to the counter and said, look, this sausage roll is mouldy. And they weren't willing to do anything about it. They weren't willing to acknowledge. They didn't say sorry. So what he did was he stood on the table and then announced to the whole cafe, this sausage roll is hairy mouldy, he said. And obviously that caused a bit of, they were very eager to get him out of the cafe. Anyway, just finish with that story. So hopefully this will really help you, and we'll obviously dig into this in a little bit more detail, because it's not easy at all. But I'm trying to break it down into principles, because if you get principles, you can apply this to whatever marketing you're doing, whether it's Facebook marketing, whether it's just, you know, normal face-to-face marketing, or whatever kind it is. It all works the same. It's just the mechanisms are different. Anyway, thanks for watching.